Since I'm always saying Ephesians 6:10, I'm reading the Bible. Ephesians 6. I'm reading before what it says. And John Hagee was awesome. He does not believe in the real Jesus. He believes he has a prosperity gospel, unfortunately, like all the rest, like Joyce Meyer and Kenneth Copeland. I can't cope with, but some truth sometimes comes out of people's mouths. There is no honor with a child molester, and that's what he said. He said he counseled this girl, and her tears came enraged. He raped, he rapes me, and then he's screaming on his stage. There is no honor. You can't. If your parent is super abusive, like Sybil's mom, there is no forgiveness. Now, she lives in this world, and she's like, oh, well, I forgave my mom. And Sinead O'Connor had a really rotten mom also, that she loves and forgives. There is no love for that extent of that abuse, that severe abuse. And it's just, Jesus never forgave Hitler. He never forgave Sybil's mom or, Sinead O'Connor. They don't have to forgive. They have to deliberately forget and not hate. They can't hate. So it's natural to hate your insane abuser. So that's what the victim has to not do, is hate. Forgiving, there's no such thing with that horrifying abuse. So anyway, it says, children, obey your parents and the Lord, for this is right. Honor your father and mother. This is the first commandment with a promise. It didn't matter what I did. I had children that were treated like gold, and I was treated like shit. And an example of that is they're smoking medical marijuana right now, right? I got beat up. Not all the time, but screamed at, sometimes pushed. All right. Not majorly beat up. All right. But screamed at for smoking pot. There you go. I'm completely I didn't you just don't treat someone like shit and then treat them that you're somebody else completely opposite. And I try to tell people that never even listen to me the truth, but the truth doesn't go through. There's something wrong with a bathroom where they can't even take a shower. That's wrong. For how many years? And they got their daddy's money to fix it at least 5 times over, the pipes, which cost $20,000. So that's called incompetence. But I can't get through to a deadbeat, demon-possessed, severely blinded narcissist. It's useless talking to somebody oh, it's okay for my kids to smoke pot day in, day out, but me, I was tortured. That's reality. Honor that. If you're tortured by your parents, so that, I really loved late George Carlin, his response. Well, but most parents you can't honor. They treat you like shit. There is no honor there. It's respect. Respect is earned. Okay? And most people, you can't respect. And that's just the way it is. And you can't do anything about it. And insane abusers always abuse, but why do they get away with it? And that's my whole point. They get away with it. They can do whatever they want. And they don't make any sense at all. Like, what does it take to get through reality? And I should write out. I should prepare my videos. I really should. Children, obey your parents in the Lord, for this is right. Honor your father and mother. This is the first commandment with a promise. What promise? What did Sybil have? Huh? Why didn't she die? What did Sinead O'Connor have? Honor that? That severe abuse? What did the House of Horror? Those poor kids that didn't even know anything about the world. Honor that? But that's what the Bible says. He wrote the Bible. Some Pharisees had some... it doesn't make any sense. There's a Willis clan and the Dunbars. I have to look them up too. All those children definitely should not honor their mother and father. But you tell a deadbeat, demon-possessed, insane abuser that, they won't listen to you. Well, that's what the Bible says. That Sybil should have honored her mom, and it would have went better with her. With a promise, right? Right? Sybil wouldn't have had those 16 personalities, right? Yeah, she honors her mom with a promise to get 16 personalities because of her severe trauma. That's what you call the most complex PTSD, if there were any. That's like super complex, totally abused. Well, it's taking too long. Didn't get off the subject yet. Most parents are unhonorable, and you can't honor that. And honor comes with respect, comes with being good to another person. If you're not good to another person, there's nothing there. Yeah, there's no, a person's not going to repay good for good, then there's nothing there. It's a death relationship. And most of my relationships, they're not relationships, they're death relationships. They abuse me to death. But behind closed doors, no one knows what's going on. My dead husband at the Four Seasons, nobody saved me there. Nobody at all. He's allowed to beat me up. It's his place. He pays for it. The hotel lady let him pay for it, okay? Every single month. She should have said, you know what? You can't live here anymore. You abuse your wife to death. I'm not allowing you to live here anymore. That's what should be done, but you live in a backwards world where nothing is done right at all. What's done right? Nothing. Okay. Children don't obey your insane, abusing parents. Try to get away from them as soon as possible. But what happened to the House of Horrors? Those kids went right into foster care and got abused again. I don't think any of them were sexually abused. And the House of Horrors, I think that's how they were one was able to escape. I think if Jordan was actually child molested, then with all that other abuse, with total neglect, she wouldn't have been able to escape. But in the foster care, then they abused them like hell for 3 years. And like, why? Because people can get away with abuse again and again and again and again. And unfortunately, that was my whole life. Okay. Shouldn't even have bothered with this. God. I'll keep on reading to it. Alright, okay. This is the first commandment with a promise, that it may be well with you and that you may live long on the earth. Fathers, do not provoke your children to anger, but bring them up in discipline and instruction of the Lord. Yeah, what about the Willis clan? What do you do with those monsters? He beat up the boys and raped the girls. It's awful. There's no honor to that dad. Seriously. There is no honor. Like John Hagee screamed. It would be nice if there was a YouTube clip of him screaming that. There's no honor with a lot of parents. I would say over half in this world are very abusive to their kids. That's why the kids have nothing to do with their parents. People don't make any sense. Now this is wrong too. Slaves be obedient to those who are your earthly masters, with fear and trembling and singleness of heart, as to Christ. It's bad. Slaves, be obedient to those who are your earthly masters. Well, the slaves get to be beat up and oh my God, I read one horror story. I forget what it was. It's just so horrible. There's so much abuse. God. Not in the way of eye service as men pleasers, but in service of Christ, doing the will of God from the heart, remembering service with good will as to the Lord and not to the men, knowing that whatever good one does, he will receive the same again from the Lord. That's a lie. The insane abuser keeps on abusing for years and years and years because they can get away with it. These horrifying masters to those poor black slaves, they could get away with doing whatever the hell they wanted to them. I don't see how they survived. I don't see how the House of Horrors survived. I have no idea how Sinead O'Connor just listened to a little bit of her story, which would be very close to the House of Horrors. Okay. And Sybil's. Sybil was maybe the most abused case of all. Oh my God. How she even made it. I mean, it's just unspeakable. Like, how horrible. Okay, whatever. I'll do the other one. I mean, this is all bullshit. Slaves, be obedient to those who are your elderly masters. Why? They just, once you're good, then they want more and more and more. And then some of them were crazy and they just beat them up to death. They had their whips and whipped them to death. And the other slave, the other slaves are scared, and that's their whole life. That's not life. That's hell. That's hell on earth. Those poor black slaves, that's hell on earth. Just like the House of Horror. That's hell on earth. There's 13 poor children that were tortured by their parents. That's hell on earth. There's just so much hell around that there's so many verses in the Bible that are just completely wrong. They shouldn't be there. Like what? Why would I be good to somebody that beats me up all the time? Verbally. And then physically. They can get away with it. They're the ones, the control freaks. They're the ones with power and money. The poor victim doesn't have anything. It'd be better if, like, victims, like, instead of suffering for years, just kill themselves. In my opinion. It's great that there are so many survivors. I just can't understand how they survive. So I think it's great that they did not kill themselves. Somehow Sybil survived because of a really good counselor. The counselor just saw her through and helped her. I mean, I seriously would have wanted to interview. There's some people you want to interview. She would have been one of them. Like, why did you forgive your mom? Because, Jesus didn't forgive your mom. Jesus doesn't forgive everyone. Jesus died for the sins of the world. No, Jesus died for Sybil's mom's sinning, torturing against her. Her sin, her tortures of sin against Sybil. That's what Jesus died for, not for the mom. Get that straight. Now it's, I don't know why it didn't click off yet, but whatever. So you just